What's going on, guys? And welcome to our lesson on the rolling break even and how to get the most out of this tool. What I'm going to do in a second is share screen and go through a couple of different ways to use this through different scenarios. I'll put in some numbers off the top of my head based off of some real scenarios. And if you play along, plug your own numbers in and you'll understand how to use this and how to get the most out of it. So without further ado, let me share screen and let's jump into this one. Awesome. So you'll be able to see my screen now. It'll say master copy, break even and forecasting spreadsheet. This is the exact copy that you're going to have access to. And I'm going to talk you through each of the pages on here. It's very simple. It's very straightforward. Playing around with this, you'll get the hang of it very quickly. And I guarantee you this will be one of your favorite tools to use. Now, this is the first page here. So what you typically do is check in your clinic name. So if I put up here, PhysioFit, and you put the number of directors. So let's say you have 4 directors, and it's only built for up to 4 directors and up to 4 sites. If you do need more than that, we can actually create more. You can just create 2 versions of this and run them simultaneously. But let's say you have 2 directors, and so we're going to say Pete and Ian. Oops, oh gosh, that wasn't meant to happen. And Andrew, and let's say that we're both 50% owners. Okay, so essentially you're having the ownership structure up here. How many sites are there? So if you say 4 sites, it's going to pop down 4 sites. Let's say that there's just 1 site to, actually we'll go 2 sites, so we show how they play together. So what you put down for your weekly expenses for each site, if you read this one here, wherever there's a little black triangle on the top right, it means there's a note there. So if you scroll over this one, the most accurate way to calculate your weekly expenses is to divide your yearly operational expenses by 52. Please remove all salaries, bonuses, and superannuation because we're going to put those in separately. Okay, so in here, no salaries, no bonuses, and no super. Okay, if you're not from Australia, nothing that's getting paid to an employee, essentially. Now, what you're going to do, and the reason you take it over 52 weeks is often there are things that you'll pay once off, like you might pay business insurance once a year, and you might pay another type of fee once a year. And so we want to include all of these in our expenses because we want to have the most accurate data here. Accurate, clean data is the key to this being accurate for you. Fantastic. So let's jump in. So what you might do is, let's say your expenses may be, and I'll do a few numbers here. Let's say your expenses are 150,000 a year at the first site. So 150,000 divided by 52 gives you 2884.62. 2884.62. And let's say the second site, 74,000. It's a small place. So 74,000 divided by 52, 52 weeks in a year, 1423.08. Amazing. Now, when you jump over here, what you'll notice is for Clinic 1, it's put in your expenses, and for Clinic 2, it has put in your expenses. So it's already done that for you. So let's start with Clinic 1. We're going to put our admin team in here. We're going to say Sally, Johnny, and Tim. And let's chuck in an hourly rate, and we're just making up some numbers here, 26, 26, and let's go 30. And let's say there's 14 hours a week here, 24 hours and 38 hours. And you'll see that it works out their salary and super. And this is where you put your super percentage up here. For those not Australia, superannuation is paid on top of someone's salary, but it's paid into their, what we call superannuation, their retirement fund. KiwiSaver is the equivalent in New Zealand, and different countries around the world will have different versions of this. In Australia, it's going up to 11.5% soon, so you just change it there to 11.5%. You'll see that updates, but it's currently 11%. So we'll chuck those in, and then we'll chuck a therapist in, Jeffrey, Pete. Actually, I won't use Pete, that'll get confusing. Let's go Steve, Joanna, Marie, and Victoria. And we'll chuck in the hourly rate, and let's go 35, 35, 36. We'll make them more experienced as we go down, and then hours per week. Let's go. Let's say we've got full-time therapy team. Beautiful. Now, commission or reward percentage. Now, some people may not have a commission or a reward or a bonus scheme in their clinic. Amazing. Just leave this as nothing. Don't put anything in here. If you do pay a commission percentage, you may say, oh, we pay 40%. Okay. And in this example, it's 40% or their base salary, whatever's higher. That's what this works out. That's why we call it the rolling break even, essentially, because based on what's happening, it'll work out what someone's going to be earning. So let's say that this person's seeing 50 clients per week and the average spend was $101. You'll see here that this is what they'd get paid per week, but this is actually what they're going to get paid, a lot more than that, because what it's working out is 40% of this is, so 40% of their billings is higher than their salary. And so you're getting paid whichever's higher there. Now, if they were to see 20 clients, you would see that their commission amount, 40% would be $896, which is lower than this. And so they would get paid their base salary. That's how that works. Now, a common question that I do get is what happens if I have contractors? So they're not on an hourly rate. Well, if they're not on an hourly rate, all you do is you just don't have anything in there for hours and hourly rate. You can still put hours in if you like. You can just take hourly rate out, and then they'll just be on a pure percentage. So if you're using contractors, that's how you'll do it. So in this example, we'll say that we have a team that's being rewarded with some commissions, and some people who also pay rewards sort of on a quarterly basis, and they want to figure out how to put them in here. Often your rewards, even at the crux of it, come down to a percentage. So if you can look at what that percentage reward is to how you work it out, is going to be what you put in here. So in this example, 40, 46, 43, and let's say it's 52. And our average spend can be pretty similar. And then maybe this is a senior therapist down here, and we might have a 115 average spend. Now, as we do this, what I'll do is I'll talk through each column. So we've got revenue generated. Revenue generated is how many clients do they see per week multiplied by their average spend. Commission, which is how much would they earn based on these numbers here. Now, if you aren't paying a commission, they're just on a pure base salary, no percentage in there, and that'll work. And you'll see that changes to 0. This then works out what's higher, their commission or reward, or their base salary. And it puts that in there. And then it works out their adjusted hourly rate. And then it works out their yearly pay. And their yearly pay is worked out off of if they were to, like, if these are averages, and it's important that these numbers are averages. So what you don't want is you don't want to put a peak in here, and you don't want to put a trough. So if Jeffrey hit 50 clients one week and he's never ever done that at any other time, putting 50 in here isn't ideal. Conversely, if he has a poor week and it's 23, you wouldn't put 23 in here. You want to put in the average. So what if the average was, say, 45 clients? Oops, geez. Oh gosh, I put in there 45 clients per week. That's what you would put in there. So take an average over, say, a 3-month period. Okay, now how it works out the yearly pay is if we click on this one here, it's working out this one here, which is their pay, times F2, which is this. This is how many times they would earn that. And I'll talk through the revenue multiplier in a second. Plus 52 take away F2, because you're going to pay them 52 weeks of the year, as long as they're employed. You'll pay them 52 weeks of the year. However, if they're only generating revenue for 46, so let's say they have 2 weeks annual leave and maybe 2 weeks of sick leave or some public holidays in there, then you're going to pay them 6 weeks in this example, where they are not getting a reward. That's just their base salary. And then there's 46 weeks, if this is the average, where they are getting that reward based on the numbers that you've inputted. So that'll help you to understand what are you going to pay these people and what's their adjusted hourly rate based on their rewards. Now, again, if they don't get a commission, the hourly rate will look awfully like what it does over here. This is just adding super on top of it. Okay. Now, if we look at yearly revenue, this is the revenue that they would generate based off of how many weeks of the year, their revenue multiplier that they would generate revenue. So some people work this out from 48 weeks. Some people go 46 weeks. I've seen as low as 40 weeks. If you work out how many weeks of the year on average your team generates revenue. So some people may go, we have 4 weeks annual leave, 2 weeks of public holidays, and 2 weeks of sick leave. So let's use 44 as our number. Some people don't like to take into account sick leave as something that's a given. And for clinics that aren't as busy, having public holidays in a week doesn't really change the overall revenue for that week. So it's very dependent on your clinic. So please take this as you will. If we come down, if we look at this one, this is our yearly business revenue per practitioner. And how we work this one out, just so you understand this, is it's this, take away this. So their total revenue, take away their salary plus super. And this is the revenue that the business gets from that practitioner. And then if we look at the salary as a percentage of revenue, we can see as a percentage of the revenue they bring in, this is what we're paying them. So we can get a pretty good idea of that. And this is a forecasting tool and understanding your break even. Coming across here, we also have leave per week and leave per year. In Australia, this is the multiplier you would use. If you're outside Australia, just do a little research on Google and find out what's your leave multiplier per year based on how many weeks of leave that your team will have. If you have contractors, you can get rid of leave essentially. Awesome. So that's the columns as we go across. Now, as we go down, what you'll see is in this example, we've got myself and Andrew. Now we haven't put a salary in here yet. So let's chuck one of those in. Let's just say we're taking $50 per hour and 38 hours each. Beautiful. Now in this example, we're not generating any revenue. We're not seeing any clients. And you can see that we're taking a salary of $109,668 each. Okay. And we can see if we scroll down that the clinic is going to make, based on these numbers, a profit of $49,691 per year based off of our revenue multiplier of 44. Now, if this was 42 and we come down here, you'll see that that's now in the negative. So it is important to get your revenue multiplier correct by looking at previous year's data. So if we come down here, this is your base salary plus super, we get average spend, total clients being 226, actual wages is 18,318. That's taking into account bonuses, rewards, commissions. Total cost to the clinic then adds in our expenses as well. And then total revenue is the revenue brought in over that week, clinic profit per week, and break even client number for that week. That's what that looks like. Now, this will then give us our revenue per year and our clinic profit per year, as well as our clinic profit margin, which is sitting at 4.59%, and then our profit per quarter based on the numbers that we've put in. And one thing you will notice is that the break-even client number, being 23 clients below the total client number, is based on a week that we're seeing revenue coming into the clinic. So if you're working with 52 weeks per year, essentially this is what this number would look like. So the key thing to be watching over here is where are we sitting from a revenue per year, profit margin, and profit per quarter. Now, if I just quickly say we've got a small clinic here, let's say we don't have admin at the site and we've got Tim, Sarah, and Sally. And let's just put in an hourly rate of 38, just so you can understand this, 38 and 40. And let's make them full-time team members as well. 45, 45, 48, and say we've got about a $97 average spend here. Now, this clinic example, because it's not carrying the director's salary, maybe we'll check an admin team member in here, John, and we can say 35 and 38 hours per week. Because this one isn't carrying the $220,000 director's salary, you can see it's quite a profitable clinic. And what you can also see with this one down here, which is what I wanted to show you, was that it then adds these two together. So it's adding clinic 1 and clinic 2 together. So we can see that overall between the two clinics, 1.7 mil rev, profit of 260,000, profit margin of 15.32%, and the profit per quarter of 65,000. So that's how this sheet works together. Now, if we come over here, how you can actually now tangibly use this. Okay, so this is how you fill it in, this is how you understand it, but this is how you use it, right? So you might then go, all right, what happens if we hire another therapist? So if we go, can we hire Daniel? And Daniel, we propose that we're going to pay him $45 an hour as well, and we want him doing 38 hours, and we're going to give him 41% commission or reward. So what we probably want to look at, and you'll see it here, is we go from 49,000 profit, and if we put in 38 hours, and we're now negative 49,000. Okay, so it's essentially $100,000 difference. So if we say his average spend is 105, and we put in 20 here, 21, if Daniel can see 21 clients on average over 46 weeks of the year, it means that we can hire him and have no change. There's no change to the profitability of the clinic, slight increase, but basically no change. So this can help us making hiring decisions. We can go worst case scenario is we hire him, he doesn't see any clients at all, and we will go into negative 49,000 for this clinic, but overall we are still profitable. Okay, it's unlikely he's going to see 0 clients. So if we look at this one and then go, all right, well, what if he can see on average 30 clients for the year? Well, we can see that we are getting an increase in overall profitability. And with this, we can then go, all right, we actually back ourselves to Phil Dan, and we reckon in his first year, we can get him averaging 42. And we can see that it's going to have a $100,000 positive impact on the profit. So when we're looking at making a hiring decision and how much can we pay Dan in this example, we can look at it and use these numbers. Now, another thing that we can do here is figure out how much to pay him, because let's take these out. Oops, we take this out. And let's say we're thinking 43 and Dan wants 47. Okay, we can see that there's a $9,000 difference per year there. So if we pay Dan 47 and he sees 43 clients per week, we're going to make 151,000. If we pay him $43 and he sees 43 clients per week, we're still going to make the same amount of money based on what's happening here with the rewards and the commission that we have set up. So we can see that as long as we understand the numbers, we can actually offer a higher salary to someone, and we can be more competitive on who can we bring into the business and how can we pay them effectively, especially in a tough hiring market that we're in at the moment. So you can use this here to understand, what can I pay people? How many clients do I need to get them seeing so that we have a null and void equation? In this one, it's probably about 22 because we increased the salary. And basically where we were. Now, if we're confident of getting 22, amazing, fantastic, nice and simple, beautiful. Now, the next thing we can do is also look at, well, what if we are going to increase our rent? Let's say we're going to move to a bigger place and it's now going to cost us, $4,200 a week. There's a $1,400 a week increase. If we come across here and we can see it's negative 15 now, what it means is, let's get that to 43. Let's go 36. Yeah. By increasing clients by 14, we then bring ourselves back to that same profit margin per year. And so this is where you can have a bit of play around. If we're going to increase our operational expenses, how can we then do this? Like, how can we reverse engineer and go, all right, well, if we increase our rent by 1,400 per week, we're in a nicer building now, there's more space, we have room to expand, we need another 14 clients to fill that. Now, the other thing you can do is you can say, all right, in this example, we want to be making a profit of 500,000. And so if we get down up to 50 and we pull this down, next person doing 50 as well, 105 average spend. And we can see by hiring these two people, we've gone from 191 to 431. And if we hired one more person doing those same numbers like that, we will be making about 550 profit plus the salary of 110 each, including super. And so I hope you can see in this example of how we can go through this process and actually understand, reverse engineer the goals that we want to achieve. When should we hire? Can we afford to hire? Can we afford to pay someone this much? Can we afford to move into that bigger clinic? Can we afford that new piece of technology, that new experience? How can we reverse engineer our goals that we're looking to achieve? How can we, if we want to achieve X, Y, Z for our family or to be able to give back or whatever it may be, how can we do that? What does that actually look like? How many clients per week? In this example, we got up to 514 clients per week between the two clinics to hit that 550 profit goal, plus the salary of 110 each per director. And that's how I would use this tool. There's different ways you can use it, but that's the key way I would use it, is to understand where are we now and where are we going in the future. Put it in different scenarios. What happens if this happens? What happens if this happens? And it's going to help you to understand your numbers and to understand where you're going. And then you can set specific goals. Too often we're setting goals saying we want to be at 250 clients or 275 clients per week, or one more therapist or two more therapists. And realistically, is that going to help us to achieve our goal? Often when I work with a business owner, they say, a common one is that I want to be able to earn 300,000-400,000. That'd be fantastic for myself, for my family, gives us a lot of certainty. We can afford the house in the area we want to live in, go on a couple of holidays a year. We can decrease the amount of hours that we're doing. You can use this to help to come off the tools. But they'll say that and then they'll go, so I think I need 8 full-time team members to do that. And when we plug the numbers in, 8 full-time team members makes them way more than the 300-400 that they're aiming for. And when we pull it back, sometimes it's 5 full-time team members helps them to achieve that goal. And suddenly it's a whole lot more achievable because they're going, wow, I thought I had to do this in order to get that, but it's only actually this. And to be honest, I'm not too far away from that. If I really work quite consistently over the next 12, 18, 24 months, I can achieve that. And I think that's really empowering to know, where do you need to be exactly to achieve your goals? And then once you achieve those, well, what's next? You don't always have to grow for the sake of growth. So look, my friends, I hope this makes sense. I hope you can understand how to use this tool. And I hope this helps you to set some clear goals and to set some clear plans for where you want to be at the end of this year and at the end of the next 3 to 5 years as well, with certainty.